Hi, Kitty. I wanted to send this to you. I thought I sent this already, but I'm gonna also read through it. So, when an entity receives, or I should say, expends, and the threshold has changed now at $750,000 of federal financial assistance, they have to receive various reports. Now, some of the reports are required by GAGAS, and those reports, and you can see that highlighted as 1, 2, 3 here, are reports that are required under the Yellow Book, under General Accepted Government Auditing Standards, which includes the opinion on the entity's financial statements, which is just like what happens in a gas audit, but also there's a report on internal control and report on compliance. Those are all required because when you get money from the federal government, they say that you have to do your financial statement audit per the Yellow Book, and the Yellow Book requires the opinion on the financial statements, but also this report. It's not an opinion on internal control and report on compliance with laws that are relevant to the financial statements. For example, a not-for-profit should file with the IRS a Form 990, which is the not-for-profit tax return. And the notion is that an auditor should determine if they had filed that return or not in connection with their audit of the financial statements. And if they didn't, that would have to be called out in the report on compliance. And even if they didn't have any non-compliance, the report is still issued saying there was no non-compliance. So that's the 1, 2, 3 reports relevant to the financial statement audit of an entity that receives federal financial assistance. The Single Audit Act went further and added additional reports that are required by the Single Audit Act. One is a report on internal control over compliance applicable to each program to which the entity receives money. So they could be receiving money from various federal agencies, Department of Labor, Department of Education, and those agencies each could have program requirements that the entity would have to institute internal controls to make sure that they were in compliance with the program requirement. So if the program said that a kid can't participate in a program unless their family income is under 50,000, and control might be to ask the kid's parents to give a tax return to show that they made less than 50,000 so the kid could participate in the program. The next report that's required under the Single Audit Act now is an opinion. This is literally an opinion on compliance with requirements applicable to those requirements. So if the accountant actually found non-compliance, let's say they found a kid that was participating in the program that the family made more than 50,000, then that would be non-compliance that would be called out in that report. And even if there's not any non-compliance, they would still have to issue the report saying that they found no non-compliance. So the single audit now has added these two reports, 4 and 5. Okay, and then all this is talking about here in the blue is how to audit compliance. And then you keep going down and we list the additional reports. So report 6 that's listed here is an opinion on a supplementary schedule of expenditure of federal awards. And I wrote in there, that's like a new financial statement, and that it lists how much was spent under each of the programs to which the entity expended money. So it's like an additional financial report that the entity has to provide, and the CPA has to give an opinion on that. And then finally, there's a schedule of finding and question cost. If they have a finding and there's some questioning as to the cost, they have to list those findings and question cost on that 7th report. And even if they don't have any findings or question cost, then they have to list none. Okay, so when you look at this thing, that's the 4 additional reports that was the subject of that question you just sent me that is required by the single audit. A report on internal control over compliance, it's not an opinion. An opinion on compliance with requirements applicable to each major program, that's 1, 2. And then the next 2 is an opinion on the supplementary schedule of expenditure of federal awards. And then 7, a schedule of finding and question cost. So I also list all 7 reports, the 3 that are required by GAGAS, and then the 4 additional that you see listed there that I just read off that are required by the single audit. I also have this graphic, okay, in this document that I sent to you that talks about how you end up with all 7 reports under the Single Audit Act, but the way those reports stack is you have the opinion on the financial statements, which you also have under GAS. You have the requirement under GAGAS, the government auditing standards, in which you have to have the opinion, you have to have the report on the internal control, the report on compliance. Okay, that's those reports that are listed 1, 2, 3 up here, right? I listed those as 1, 2, 3. And then you can see that the Single Audit Act adds on, and I don't know why they say recommended, it's required, that you have to have these additional 4 reports under the Single Audit Act. Okay, so I think I sent you this document, but if not, let me know. I can send it to you again. Okay.